of Alive. I am on my phone today having computer tech issues, so I am hoping that I can get this to go right. So yeah, first time live on my phone. We'll see how that goes, because I don't remember. There we go. Okay, it's asking me so many questions I can't read them all. Okay, so we are working. Okay, so I'm going to leave it on this way. I'm hoping I can see questions as they come in. Up top. Would prefer it wasn't the vertical format, but I don't know. The YouTube app isn't giving me much of an option, so we're gonna go that way. I got my cup of coffee in hand, so just as traditional. This is kind of coffee and chats. So yeah, and when you're staring at your face, you fix your hair. Okay, so we're gonna do some work in here. We're gonna do some channel updates. Let's get some gloves on so we're ready to work. Eventually I'll make multiple phones so I can manage other things as I go on. And well, that's a ripped glove. That won't help. But yeah, for this point, it is just me running this. It is quite rainy inside the greenhouse. There's a lot of condensation in here. We have headed into winter, so it's a little bit cooler out there. Some of the updates. I think that one's down there. Okay. Some of the updates. We're going to start clearing some of the benches. I know this is going to be something that's hard for some of you to see me do, but yeah, I need to make space because next season's plant material is really kind of taking off and really getting going. So we're going to work on a little bit of that today. So my 4-inch stuff, which is down here, some of these guys down here, they're going to go away today. And we're going to get ready for the next bit of growing. That would be, look at these lovely beauties. So these are the cuttings that we took earlier this year. This is Surfina pink veined. All right, so I snagged some of the tags of the ones I had before. So this is going to make a fantastic basket. They're just about where I want them, if not a little bit ahead. So we will probably start planting these up, but when we do, that means we need to make space. So some of this year's experimental firefly petunias are going to go away to make room for the baskets, and then next year's crop of firefly petunias that are going to be appearing. So yeah, we're going to work on that. The other thing is the verbena is going good. We're going to work on that today because it does need a trim. We'll get that taken care of. The pitaya, we're going to also be working with that today and look at basically some of the other cuttings that we have done. If folks drop things down in the chat, I don't know if I can see them yet. I mean, I can try, but I don't know how to work that yet. This is my first live off of the app. So we'll talk a little bit about some of these plants. So these are the firefly clones. With these, they're going to go away. They've reached the end of their useful life to me, so they're going to be disappearing. So we're gonna make sure that those kind of go away. I know that's super sad for a lot of you that really struggle. This is one I wasn't really happy with. That's a pretty ratty condition when you compare it to like my mother plant. She is recovering right now. The transition after the aphids was really hard on her. She also takes up currently the space I'm standing in, so she's actually outside. It's okay. I think we're in the 50s right now here. But yeah, these are going to go away. Unfortunately, they are going to exit, so I'm going to kind of collect those and walk them out the door. And this is going to serve a couple of purposes. So not only is this going to clear bench space, but it's going to decrease the plant load that we have in here, which is going to make it a lot easier for me to manage basically the insects that come in here. So the aphids, I did see some whitefly flying around the other day as I was working out planting some stuff. They haven't found their way into the greenhouse. I didn't even know that we had them up here, but I did see a few whiteflies. So we're gonna walk those out the door. And I'll let you see the area that we're clearing out. So a lot of those are going to go. And some of this other plant material, these were just some other things that I had purchased for breeding work. You can kind of see the blossoms there, but they've reached the end of their usefulness, so they are also going to go. Now, one of the things is I do actually manage, oh, hey, I got some chats. What's good today? Drinking bean water, lots of coffee. How's my day? It is, well, it's a little rainy outside, and it's cool. Down that way is actually the carnivorous plant bog, so it is outside. It is uncovered right now. I was brave and had it stay overnight. We didn't get into freezing temperatures, but you know, other than that, things are going good. The greenhouse is we're gonna gear up and get ready for that. So that was kind of today, is go through a lot of the stock plants that I had in here and figure out what we're gonna keep, what we're gonna dispose of. To the right of me is all of the plants that we were doing any sort of breeding work with. So anything that might possibly have a seed pod on it. And in fact, the Glamoflage grape is one of the ones that we're going to look at today. And we're going to see if the seed pods that were on it are ripe. So that's kind of what's going on. But for right now, we were working on this stuff over here. Let's see if we can get that out of the way. We're getting rid of, you know, most of these plants I've gone through and there's nothing special about them. We're going to be refreshing with fresh material. You can see that I've still got budworms in here. I have sprayed and sprayed. This is a volunteer, doesn't glow. It's going to go. Those are going to go. So this is going to clear up a bunch of space. Okay, so over here, we're going to start moving in our basket material. So this is all the stuff that we were working on earlier, doing the cuttings for end of season, and those are looking fantastic. But we need to basically get some space, so I'm going to move these over there, and I'm going to keep this one. We're going to talk a little bit about that one. There are signs of life there, believe it or not. I'm just going to see if it can recover. It got attacked by snails while it was down there. Super disappointed on that, but that's the only ones I have of that particular variety left. So we're going to move some of those down there. We're going to snag another verbena. All right, so just basically making way. All right, so with those are being moved out of the way. Some of you are here because of the firefly stuff, the firefly petunias. Why do I mess with regular petunias when I have fireflies? Part of it is quite simply regular petunias are what I grew up raising. So I grew up in a nursery. This is a super tiny greenhouse for me. I don't have land big enough to put in something that I'd really like. We will put in another greenhouse later, but the firefly petunia. Try that again. The firefly petunias were an opportunity to mess with something that's new, something that's really kind of cutting edge when it comes to nursery work. So I do work with both regular petunias and firefly petunias, but I'm trying to grab some of the stuff from those regular petunias and put it into the fireflies. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. Sorry, the AI for the chat is trying to suggest weird things. So anyway, you're going to see both. You're going to see firefly content and you're going to see regular petunia content. And the one thing when it comes to firefly petunias that I want to reiterate to folks is they are still a petunia. Okay, so if you can grow a regular petunia, you can grow a firefly petunia. And I know some people don't see them as the same, but I treat them the same. And we have a little guest coming in. Let's put him over on one of the plants. Still a lot of insect life in here. There was a spider. But anyway, if you treat the firefly petunias the same as you treat regular petunias, you're going to have them perform the same, right? So fireflies and regular petunias, they're going to perform the same. So that's why I still work with regular petunias in addition to working with fireflies. So let's get to some of the work that we had today. We're going to use these as an example of some of the tips and tricks that you can do with firefly petunias. With this, you can see that we've headed into a little bit darker time of the year. Okay, so if you're looking at your petunias or other plants and you start to see this distance in between the leaves, so this down here is called a node. Anywhere where leaves come off is called a node. And here is another node. And this space in between is called the internodal space. Okay, now that internodal space, when the light is low, is going to stretch because these plants are saying, hey, I need more light. So they're going to start stretching up. When you see that in some of your plants, it's telling you, I'm not getting enough light. I'm not getting everything that I need to grow. So when I'm looking at my verbena, these are a fast enough grower that I know that my petunias are also going to need some help. So I'm going to come in, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tip of that off. Okay, so when you come in and take the tip of material off like this, you are removing something called the apical meristem, and that is the control center of the plant. Okay, so I've taken that apical meristem off. I've taken that control center of this plant off. Now, in that apical meristem, it produces a whole lot of hormones in here that tell the plant what it's doing, where it's going, how it should grow. Okay, and it really always wants this plant to grow up, like up, vertically up. And I've removed that now, which means this is now without a control center. So in here, there are two buds that are now going to take over, and they're going to race each other to see who can be the tallest part. So with plants, the apical meristem is always in the highest point, but they're going to race each other to do that. But in addition to these nodes doing it, these nodes down here will do that. So in effect, what's going to happen is we're going to go from a single stem to we're going to have 4 stems coming out. We're going to make that plant bushier, right? It's going to be bushier and fuller. So when you have petunias, like this one here, this one I did not pinch any. This is all natural branching, and I want it to branch more. So I can come in, and I will come in and remove that apical meristem. So that lead bud up there, I'm going to remove that, and then that's going to force branches down below to activate and make this plant bushier and fuller. Okay, this is one of my volunteer hybrids. Let's get some of those unsightly leaves off of here. And this one has a really pretty blossom. It's still recovering. It too got attacked by budworms. The budworm moths got into the greenhouse when I wasn't looking and kind of wreaked havoc. But we're going to go through and we're going to trim this one up a little bit today, see if we can get it to branch a little bit more. Okay, so I've removed the apical meristem from that one. You're going to find them on all of these. And I'm going to remove some of these buds because I don't need them to be growing right now. Okay, so with your petunias, if you come in and do the same thing, you're taking just a little bit of the tip of that plant off, you're going to promote that secondary branching and make a fuller plant. Now, if you are new to raising petunias and you've got some of those that you want to replicate, taking those tips of those plants off of those taller stems, it's a perfect opportunity to take cuttings. So if I really wanted to, I could take this and I could trim it up just like that. Okay, dip it in some rooting hormone and then put it in my cutting tray, which is actually over here. Okay, and now I can have another cutting of that plant that develops in addition to making my plant look better. Okay, this is definitely one that I'm going to keep. It's a very robust, very sturdy firefly clone, and it has awesome roots, which fireflies are not known for their roots. Okay, so that is there. So when we come in and we start learning with other plants, like learning with these verbena, and I'm going to come in, there's a bud right there. We don't want that one, so we'll just take that off. So if I can learn with other plants on how to come in and do cuttings and do pinching, this is called pinching because normally we would pinch. If I can learn that, then I can make my petunias better. Okay, so that has all been pinched and it's promoting secondary growth around the plants. It's going to make it fuller. Okay, so that's one of our verbena. We're going to do that with both of them. And the other thing is with these, since we have basically 2 months before we're really going to worry about planting them up for our baskets for the spring, we can come in here and pinch them multiple times to get them ready for spring. Okay. So with your firefly petunias, same deal. You can come in and make that a bigger, fuller plant simply by going in and doing some pinching. And then you don't have to worry about having a spindly single or double branch plant. You can have something that's really, really full, like my mother plant. Okay, so you guys want to see me pinch some petunias? Okay, this is the same deal. This is a pink vein, and yes, I do have seed for a pink vein firefly clone. This is a trailing petunia, so this one is going to trail down. This one trails, if done right, 5 feet long in a very full basket. So there are enough here to do, well, I usually put 5 in a basket, so basket and a half basically. I'll mix it with something else. So with these, we're going to come in and do the same thing. So we're going to find that main branch there. We're going to come in and just remove the tip of that. Okay. Now, one of the things, when it is winter time and you're working on these, very, very important that you remove that plant material. Don't allow that to stay in there, because if you do, that's where you're going to get botrytis fungus set in. So basically, your plants will start to rot down below at the soil surface level. They'll damp off. Okay, so we're going to come in and trim all of these to make it a fuller plant. We're going to have to move these up to 4-inch plants. Maybe we'll do that, or 4-inch pots. We'll do that next week. Okay, there we go. All right. So this stream that we're on, this is kind of designed to be a Q&A. So I'm just going to keep talking until people ask questions. So if you have questions about firefly petunias, about gardening in general, anything like that, feel free. Drop a comment down there. If you're watching for the first time, I am a nurseryman. I am in my small backyard greenhouse because I am currently in between greenhouse facilities. So yeah, that's why you see tiny greenhouse, not like a giant one. Anyway, here we go. Got that one kind of trimmed up there. I think I've got another one in here that I want to trim. We're going to try to keep this all nice and compact. And then when we are ready, we will let it run. I think I'll take another one off here, take those buds off. And I don't need to take secondary cuttings yet, so I think we're okay. So there's trimming up petunias. So all the leading buds, the primary buds have been removed, so those apical meristems are out. Now it's going to do secondary branching. Okay, so we've got that there. Move that off to the side. This is the pitaya. I want it to grow a little bit more. Not going to mess with that one right now. Okay, All right, so let's get into some of the sweet potato. First thing I'm going to do, there we go, is I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to remove any of the old leaves, anything that's been injured, damaged, dying. This is going to be our foliage for our hanging baskets. They're also a good bellwether when it comes to aphids. If you see aphids on your sweet potatoes, there's aphids at other places. So we're going to watch those. Okay, I'm going to kind of go through these. We did have several different ways that we were working with our sweet potatoes as far as cuttings. Tip cuttings, mid-stem cuttings, and then like taking full branches and rooting them in water. I believe this was one of the full branches in water. I don't need it to be this big yet, so I'm gonna cut it back pretty severely, and then I'm gonna come in and remove any of the old plant material that we don't need to be in there. Okay, so we're gonna kind of trim those up, keep those nice, small, and compact. All our organic matter, we're collecting that, and we're gonna get it out of here. So we've got a container for it. We're going to make sure we take it out of here so that we're not having a fungal load that builds up. So we want to make sure that that doesn't stay. Coffee break. Okay, let's keep going in, and we're going to trim the rest of the sweet potatoes. Get that petunia out of the way. I believe this was a little tip cutting. We want them to branch a little bit more, and I'm going to take it back a little bit further, try to get it to branch down further. That was definitely a tip cutting. There we go. Now I can see you. We'll pinch that, remove more of the unsightly stuff, get that out of the way. This is an older leaf, get him out of the way. Okay, we're going to also try to make sure that we're keeping good space down below so we have airflow to get rid of any of the fungi. Uh-oh. All right, this leaf's damaged. It's one of the primaries, it goes away. This one's been eaten on, it goes away. Leave just the good looking ones there. And I don't think I need to pinch that one to branch yet. That's solar tower lime. So, sweet potato are a climbing vine. So we're gonna work on some of that today because the longer ones have really taken off. So there's enough heat in here. We're maintaining about 60 degrees, which is great. But unfortunately, it means a lot of things are growing actively. Let's see. See this vine right here? That is a sweet potato. That's going where I don't want it to. So that's part of what we're going to trim up today. Okay, get down here. I'm going to take this back fairly far. It's about there, taking off a little more than a foot of plant material. That'll cause it to branch back further. Take off this old dead stem. There we go. This one has started to run. We want it to be a bit delayed, so we'll take off that. It's an unsightly leaf. That one can come off. So is that one. Okay, there we go. That one's all pruned up. This one's nice and compact, but we'll get rid of the older leaves. We don't need those in our life. There we go. Now it's going to kind of get complicated. I think this is that one. Yeah. All right, that's a sweet potato that has really taken off. We want him to stay fairly compact. So we're going to take all that off of there, and we're going to try to keep a nice compact plant. Keep any of the bad leaves off of it. We don't want anything that can build up a fungal load. We're going to keep all of that out of the way. And we've got more than enough sweet potatoes for next year. Uh-oh. All right, let's dig in here. Let's try to get this one. This was one of the long branches we took a cutting of, and it really enjoyed getting into some new plants, or some new potting soil. And try to get this all untangled. There we go. That was the cuttings we took. We didn't take them that long ago. that was one of the branches that we rooted in water, and then we put it in potting media. It's really taken off. We're going to try to make this one a whole lot shorter. All right. So we're going to go ahead and come in here. We're going to trim this back. Those of you just joining us, welcome. So we're doing a little greenhouse care today. It's a nice overcast, rainy day in North Idaho, which is nice. Nice to have rain after an entire summer of being dry. Like it rained in June and didn't rain again till September. Maybe it was rained in May and didn't rain till September. So it's been quite a while. So there we go. That one's trimmed back. Put that one back over here. If you have plant questions, drop them into the chat. Got another bunch down here. All right. So there we go. Sorry, text coming in. Okay. So there we go. There is another one of those. And we do have two different types of the dark sweet potato here. We have Solar Tower Black, which is the lancate shape leaf, or I guess it's cordate shape, and then the palmate shape, which is this one down here, which is the original OG. This is Blackie, which was the original black sweet potato vine that was used decoratively. So we do have a couple that we're messing with, which is why there's completely different growth habits there. I'm going to come back in here and do a little bit more trimming. This one is going to be a little bit harder to bring back because it's already so long, but we'll leave it like that. Okay, I'm going to trim up this one too. All right, get that out of the way. We have a friend, the snail. We do not want him in the greenhouse. All right. So, sorry about all the texts that come in. Okay, there we go. We've trimmed that one up. The last thing we have is our little pony pack. With this one, we are going to plant these up. I'm going to save this again until next week. As long as I keep them watered, they can stay in here for quite a while. It's going to keep them small and compact, which is actually kind of nice. And in this one, oh, we do have one aphid. There's one aphid right there. Not anymore. This is Solar Tower Lime, and this is Blackie. So those are the two different types of cuttings there. So we're going to move that over here. Okay, so let's look at something else that we've done work with lately. There we go. So we've got cuttings from last week. So we'll see, let you see those. Okay. So cuttings from last week that we've got in here. This is Glamoflage Grape. This is actually our really big hybrid. Down here are some Firefly Petunias, and then down and through here are also Firefly Petunias. This has had its cover on it for a while, and we've got botrytis fungus that have built up. So this one's going away. We don't want that in there, and it is kind of my clue to leave the cover off. So that's going to be on its own now. I was trying to keep the moisture high, and apparently it's been too high. Get some of those dead leaves out of there. Okay, well, I'll put it under the fan, and that'll circulate air, which will take care of the fungus. All right. Coffee break. Oh, let me get my hand sanitized real quick. So I just dealt with a little bit of that fungus. Get that off my hands. Okay, and we're going to work with the Glamoflage grape here shortly, and I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to look for some seed pods, and if I can find some seed pods, we'll do some work there. Let me grab this. That's the Glamoflage right here, and we're going to look through and see if we can find our seed pods that we had in here earlier. Well, that one's gone. It's completely cleared out by budworm. So if we can find the budworm, that will save anything else that we get. I really do not like budworm. Okay, so the seed pods are not ready. Don't see anything ready yet. We'll keep going, keep watching these, waiting for them to dry and then open. Aha, found him. There we go. There's that budworm. That's the one that's just been absolutely devastating this plant. See if we can find any more on here. Really need to go through and clean this one up, get all the dead leaves off of it. Alright. Yep, there's another one. Cleared out another seed pod. Doggone it. Do not like those budworm. And these happen to be just about the same color as the stem, so it's really hard to tell. Oh, there's another one. Got him. Yeah, so see how that one is like the same color as the leaves. So I'll put it next to a seed pod. See how those blend in really, really well? They are absolutely a pain. It is eating all the seed pods that I pollinated. So this is Glamoflage grape. It's one of the few variegated petunias out there. and Hort Couture is who produces this one. So this one wasn't cheap, but it is one I added to my collection because I enjoy it. And this is the one that is offering the variegation genes that we're working on with the Firefly Petunia. So those genes are carried on this plant. So any of the crosses I do have to be on the female. So I take the pollen from the male from the fireflies and pollinate here. And this is where I collect the seed from, which is why it's frustrating when the budworm come in and eat the seed pods that we have. But yeah, that's Glamoflage great. Definitely one to add to your collection next year. I enjoy the colors. It's really slow on growing because it has just a small area that's green, so it's not making as much energy. But yeah, it is a very beautiful plant. One that would go really well with other darker blossoms. You wouldn't want to pair it with anything light, like no yellows, no whites. Pinks, as long as a darker pink would be okay, but this would go really well with purples. Yeah, like that. Grab one other thing. So like the pink vein is a little too washed out to go with it. But this is also not a trailer. This is a mounding or a kind of little shrub forming. So I'd put this one in the center of a container. So, and it performed really well in the hot weather. So yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, seed pods are not ready on that, which is unfortunate. So I'll move that over there. Let's see. Trying to figure out what else we were going to look for. I think we were going to look for other seed pods on our other. No, that's not. These are some of my other plants. These are ones that are going to go away. These are my stock plants. We're going to trim these up, but we first need to look for any of the seed pods from the breeding work that we did. I did make a mistake a couple weeks ago as I was coming in to trim, and I trimmed up a container, and then as I was trimming the last branch, I realized the one that I thought was not used for breeding work had been used for breeding work. And so I lost a whole bunch of seed pods. They'd been thrown in the rubbish bin before I realized it was one I was trying to keep them. Because I've got thousands of hybrid seeds this year. So we'll keep going on this one. So I'm just going to look for any of the seed pods. The other thing is, if you see all this white on here, let's bring this up a little bit closer. Those are dead aphid carcasses. That is the results of the spray application we did. Now I am still seeing some that are alive, but that's kind of why we were going to go through and trim these, is to get rid of more of that plant load. So we're going to go through and trim some of that stuff out. Okay. So I'm just checking the stems to make sure there's no seed pods on it. Then I'm trimming and removing. And then we're going to do another pesticide application with something else because there is still a pretty heavy load of aphids on these, which is not great. Yeah, no seed pods on that. Yeah, I wish my petunias could look like they do in the summertime all year long. These are a little frustrating that they kind of get ratty in winter, but that's okay because we are going to refresh with new plant material in the spring as soon as Light Bio starts shipping. And the tough part is they they ship to my latitude later on. So it's going to be tough to get anything as early as everybody else does. So maybe I'll have to have it shipped to family that's in a warmer latitude and then turn around and ship it back to me. When the weather is right, have them package it up real good and send it out to me. Yeah, I don't think there was anything on that one. This was our Firefly and Hot Pink. This was the mother plant that was managing those seed pods for me, but I'm just not seeing anything in here. I think I collected most of those seed pods already. Yeah, so just trim that up. Help save a little bit more space in the greenhouse. This was Firefly with our F1 purple throat. Not this one, this is the stock plant for that. So I'm gonna work with this one for a little bit, look for any of those seed pods. And then if I don't find any, I'm gonna add these to the waste pile, which is right outside the door. It's gonna go in the yardary bin as soon as I'm done. And eventually we'll have enough room to start prepping for the upcoming season's growth in baskets. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to get all this spent foliage plant material off of here. It's going to really cut down on the amount of vegetative matter that we have in here. That little white flyy stuff is aphid carcasses. Yeah. I'm going to trim this one way back. Okay. All right. I know they look rough. They'll be okay. So here's one I trimmed back a couple weeks ago, and you can see that we've got new growth coming out here. So I'm not killing them, I'm just promoting new growth. And that new growth that's coming out is also going to allow me to take cuttings a lot easier. So we go from something that is looking like it's on its way out, and yeah, I'll trim off all the dead blossoms, to something that's got new growth that's going to allow us to have new plant material to take our cuttings. And where you trim way back, like where I trimmed this stem all the way back there that looks dead, you're going to start getting new growth down there further, and it rejuvenates the plant. So put those off to the side. Interesting. I'm gonna play a game. Variegation or virus? That's always a fun game. Look at that one. That's a volunteer. Looks a little variegated. So, and we've also got a budworm that's coming in here destroying stuff, which is why that looks a little rough. So I think I'm going to leave it there, and we're going to play a game, variegation or virus, because there is variegation to that, but it is acting viral. So I don't know. And let's see, the leaf shape is wrong for a firefly. Yep, it's a seedling. I don't know. Variegation or virus? looks a little bit like the dermal layers are separating. So I'd lean more towards virus, but I think we'll leave it in here. We can play that game, variegation or virus. Okay, let's trim this one up a little bit too. Hopefully you can see that. There you go. I'm going to trim some of the bigger branches off here. Just looking for seed pods, anything that I might have to collect before we toss this out the door. Some of these seem to be some pretty, that's about the limit of my clippers. Yeah, all this stuff can go out. All right, so there we go. A lot better there. And yeah, we're going to play that game, variegation or virus. I'm leaning towards virus, unfortunately. This is one of the other ones I cleaned up a little bit. So starting to recover, getting some newer growth that looks better. The older growth on firefly petunias tends to do this. It gets a little bit of yellow. The newer growth is not that way. So much better. Yeah, we're getting a lot of mold in here. Good to get rid of some of this stuff. Getting dripped on. Okay, I'm going to trim another one off here off the side. Okay, put that back over. The rest of that plant material can go out. Here's the last one of the bigger mother plants. This is Firefly crossed with Glamflage Grape, if we find any seed pods on it. Although during my research I found out I was going backwards. You know, I was a nurseryman, I wasn't a plant breeder. So I'd learned stuff early on and kind of forgotten kind of how all of that works. So now I'm not really doing directional work this way with the Glamflage Grape because the only thing we get would be the color. We wouldn't get the variegation because that's going to stay on the seed side, which is on the Glamflage Grape itself. So I think most of this, even if we find a seed pod, we found a seed pod, and it's been cleared out by that guy. So we will, something was biting me. Thrips usually bite and feel like that, but I don't see a thrip. I don't want them to. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, get that stuff out. So as far as the greenhouse, when it comes to budworms in the greenhouse, if you're going to overwinter stuff, it is very important for you to remove any of the budworms that you find, because they will overwinter in your greenhouse, not as a caterpillar, but they will overwinter as a dormant insect in their cocoon or chrysalis, whichever one they happen to do. I don't know if it's a moth or a butterfly, but either way they'll overwinter, and then once they have a chance to have dormancy, they will come back, and then you'll have them flying around the greenhouse laying eggs, and you'll get budworm off season. Ask me how I know. that happened to me last year because I overwintered a bunch of firefly petunias, and I had budworms the wrong time of year. I had budworms in the middle of winter, like in January and February. I had budworms where I did not expect to have budworms. So anyway, that actually looks really nice. I like that one. Okay, let's get that plant material out of here. All right, well, at this point, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. So those of you that have joined me for the live, thank you. Saw a lot of people pop in and out, got some questions. Probably not as many as I wanted as far as questions, but enjoyed it nonetheless. And unfortunately, it's going to be in this vertical format until I can figure out how to get my phone to be horizontal. So that might just be how it goes. But anyway, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. As always, Ag Teacher Thoughts out.